You know the exact physical sensation of being entirely drained. You are sitting in a room, looking across the table at someone you have known for months, maybe even years. They have just disrespected you again. They have crossed a boundary, invalidated your reality, or subtly insulted your intelligence. And what do? You stay. You open your mouth to explain yourself. You desperately try to find the right combination of words to make them understand your perspective. Your heart rate elevates. Your chest tightens. You are burning massive amounts of cognitive bandwidth trying to logically reason with someone who is completely committed to misunderstanding you. And in that precise moment, you are losing. You are not just losing the argument. You are losing your biological sovereignty. You are actively signaling to a psychological predator that your self-worth is so incredibly low that you will sit in a room and tolerate blatant disrespect just to avoid the discomfort of walking away. You are exhausted. You are chronically fatigued, not because you are physically working too hard, but because you are functioning as a human battery for emotional vampires. What if the ultimate display of absolute power in any relationship, negotiation, or social dynamic is not having the last word? What if true psychological superiority is the brutal, clinical, and permanent execution of walking away without a single word of explanation? We are not talking about taking a break. We are not talking about the silent treatment as a manipulative game. We are talking about the permanent severing of access to your nervous system. Society conditioned you to be a negotiator. It is time to become an executioner. You have been thoroughly brainwashed by modern therapeutic culture and weak societal norms. You are constantly told that communication is the key to everything. You are told that you must seek closure. You are told that if you just sit down and talk through your feelings, you can fix any toxic dynamic. This is a catastrophic, dangerous lie. Communication only works between two healthy, rational human beings who operate with mutual respect and a shared moral compass. When you apply the rule of open communication to a covert narcissist, a manipulator, or a highly toxic individual, you are essentially handing a loaded weapon to your executioner. Manipulators do not use communication to resolve conflict. They use communication to gather data. They use your desperate need for closure to keep you engaged in their chaotic matrix. In the next few minutes, we are going to dissect the clinical dark psychology of absence. We are going to break down exactly why your brain instinctively fears letting go of toxic people, how intermittent reinforcement chemically addicts you to disrespect, and why the ancient Stoic architecture of detachment is your only biological firewall. You will learn the exact neurobiology of an emotional vampire, and why walking away without explaining yourself is the most lethal, devastating blow you can deliver to their ego. While 95% of the population is out there writing long emotional paragraphs to people who do not care about them, begging to be understood, you are going to learn how to build the kind of inner stability that makes your absence your absolute superpower. You must choose right now. Are you going to keep negotiating your worth, or are you going to build a fortress? Let us start with the biological trap of staying. Why do you instinctively stay in environments and relationships that are actively destroying your mental health? It is not because you are stupid. It is because your brain has been chemically hijacked. Behavioral psychology reveals a concept known as intermittent reinforcement. It is the exact same psychological mechanism that makes slot machines incredibly addictive. When you deal with a toxic person, they do not treat you terribly 100% of the time. If they did, you would leave immediately. Instead, they operate on a randomized schedule of rewards and punishments. They give you intense validation, warmth, and attention on Monday. On Tuesday, they withdraw completely, become cold, and subtly disrespect you. By Wednesday, you are in a state of severe clinical anxiety, wondering what you did wrong. When they finally throw you a crumb of basic human decency on Thursday, your brain releases a massive, unnatural spike of dopamine. You become physically addicted to the relief of the pain that they caused you in the first place. This is a trauma bond. Your amygdala, the survival center of your brain, becomes completely confused. It begins to associate this person with both extreme danger and extreme reward. This is why, when you even think about walking away, you feel a visceral, terrifying panic in your chest. Your nervous system is going through literal chemical withdrawal. You stay because your primal brain mistakenly believes that losing this toxic person is equivalent to biological death. While others react wildly to the chaos of the world, you respond with cold, calculated absence. You must understand the exact dietary requirements of the emotional vampire. Covert manipulators, narcissists, and highly toxic individuals operate with a profound, terrifying internal emptiness. They have no internal mechanism to generate self-worth. Therefore, they must extract it from the external environment. In psychology, this is called narcissistic supply. But here is the brutal truth that you must write down and memorize. They do not care if the supply is positive or negative. They do not care if you are crying, screaming, arguing, or begging. To a psychological predator, your emotional reaction is simply fuel. When you sit there and argue with them, when you write them a 5-page email explaining exactly how they hurt you, you think you are standing up for yourself. You think you are setting a boundary. You are entirely wrong. You are feeding them. You are proving to them that they have absolute total control over your emotional baseline. You are showing them that they possess the power to elevate your heart rate, spike your cortisol, and consume your highly valuable time. Your desperate need to be understood is the exact oxygen that keeps their false ego alive. Every time you engage in conflict with someone who fundamentally disrespects you, you are voluntarily funding their ego trip with your own mental exhaustion. You are handing your vital life energy to a parasite. Cut the cord immediately. This is exactly where the clinical psychology of walking away becomes a weapon of absolute destruction. When you walk away, and I mean walking away completely, without a final argument, without a dramatic exit, without a carefully crafted text message explaining why you are leaving, you execute the most devastating psychological maneuver possible. You deploy the Grey Rock method in its most ultimate, permanent form. Nature, and especially the ego of a manipulator, absolutely abhors a vacuum. When you silently remove your presence, your attention, and your emotional reactions from their life, you instantly cut off their biological food supply. You starve the parasite. They expect you to fight. They have spent years learning exactly which buttons to push to make you react. They have a script prepared for your outrage. But when you simply stand up, look them in the eye with dead, clinical indifference, and physically remove yourself from their reality, their entire matrix collapses. You break the script. Silence cannot be manipulated. Silence cannot be twisted into a new argument. Silence cannot be used as ammunition against you. When you offer zero explanation, you leave them alone in a room with their own toxic reflection. You deny them the closure that they desperately want to weaponize against you. You leave them suspended in an absolute void of your absence. And to a person who relies on controlling others to feel alive, your silent, permanent absence is psychological torture. It is the ultimate display of superiority. Join the elite minority who build from within, while the masses beg for scraps of respect. We must examine the Stoic architecture of this level of detachment. The ancient Roman philosopher Seneca wrote extensively about the shortness of life and the absolute tragedy of wasting time on trivialities. The Stoics understood a fundamental, undeniable law of human dynamics. Your attention is a finite, incredibly scarce biological resource. Where your attention goes, your life energy follows. Every single minute you spend ruminating over a toxic interaction, every hour you spend trying to decode the manipulative behavior of a fake friend, every sleepless night you spend trying to logically understand an illogical person, is cognitive bandwidth stolen directly from your own evolution. When you stay in environments that disrespect you, you are actively participating in your own degradation. You are telling your subconscious mind that your peace, your time, and your dignity are completely worthless. You are establishing a baseline of profound self-betrayal. Walking away is not an act of cowardice. It is not running away from a problem. Walking away is the highest form of self-respect. It is the ruthless clinical prioritization of your own biological peace over the chaotic demands of the outside world. It is the realization that you are not a rehabilitation center for broken, toxic people. Let us be brutally clear about what closure actually is. Society tells you that you need closure to move on. You are waiting for an apology that is never going to come. You are waiting for them to finally see your value and admit they were wrong. This is a massive psychological vulnerability. Closure is an illusion created by the weak to justify staying in pain. Sovereign individuals do not wait for closure to be handed to them by the very people who caused the damage. Sovereign individuals manufacture their own closure through the definitive, physical act of leaving. Your absence is your closure. The disrespect was the closure. The betrayal was the closure. You do not need a final conversation to confirm what their behavior has already proven 1,000 times over. While others react to every minor inconvenience with panic, you respond with absolute terrifying silence. To master the psychology of walking away, you must brutally upgrade your internal standards. You must build a mind that is so sharp, so disciplined, and so fiercely protective of its own energy that the mere hint of manipulation triggers an automatic, unthinking biological firewall. You must view your presence in someone else's life as an extreme privilege, not a basic right. If someone cannot respect the fundamental boundaries of your existence, their access to your existence is permanently revoked. No warnings, no three-strike rules, no long, exhausting negotiations. Access revoked. This requires a monumental shift in identity. You must stop identifying as the victim who is constantly being taken advantage of by bad people. You must start identifying as the architect of an impenetrable fortress. You must learn to sit in the intense, crushing discomfort of letting people misunderstand you. When you walk away silently, they will undoubtedly try to control the narrative. They will tell other people that you are the crazy one. They will paint themselves as the victim. They will launch smear campaigns against your character. Let them exhaust themselves screaming into the void. Defending yourself against the lies of a manipulator only validates their narrative. Your absolute, unbothered silence proves their irrelevance. You do not negotiate with terrorists, and you do not defend yourself against parasites. You simply observe, detach, and continue building your empire. You are no longer a pawn in their chaotic game. You have flipped the board. When you finally mastered this level of clinical detachment, the results are exponential. Your nervous system finally regulates. The chronic anxiety, the brain fog, the tightness in your chest, it all begins to dissolve. Your prefrontal cortex comes fully online, allowing you to focus your massive cognitive resources on your business, your physical health, and your true purpose. You begin to look at the frantic, desperate social games around you with a calm, clinical boredom. You see the manipulation coming from a mile away, and instead of reacting, you simply sidestep it. You stop trying to force locked doors open. You stop begging people to see your worth. Instead, you build a life so dense with purpose and self-respect that toxic people naturally repel themselves from your orbit. They sense that you are no longer a viable food source. While others pursue external validation to patch their deep internal wounds, you are constructing an unbreakable sovereignty. While the masses react to every minor slight with panic, anxiety, and emotional outburst, you respond with the ultimate biological weapon, total absence. You let them burn their own energy while you conserve yours. This is not just a psychological tactic. This is human evolution, and evolution is the silent, lethal superpower that separates the weak who beg for reality to change from the elite who simply adapt, detach, and conquer. The weak stay and complain about the disrespect. The sovereign walk away and build a reality where disrespect cannot even breathe. If you chose to watch this video until the very end, you are already part of the minority that prioritizes deep character over rapid, cheap validation. You are no longer a victim of your own chaotic attachments. You are no longer a hostage to the people who do not value you. You are waking up to the reality of your absolute power. Subscribe to Stoic Fortitude. Stop explaining your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stop negotiating your boundaries. Start building the mind that the world simply cannot ignore.